So my job today is to introduce and give a little bit of insight to this portion of our program, and it's the note to self. And if you were at the lunch yesterday, I kind of went through my note to self. It was a good reflection of advice if I was thinking back in time that I would give myself, and things that I did learn and things that I missed along the way that I wish I did better. But you know, I think for those of us that have kids, this is the type of thing that, you know, I do think about and want to pass on to them, and I do every day. So that's easy. But if you're even, you know, whatever your path in life is, it's good to reflect back and think about those things that you really want to connect to. So today we have great business leaders here that are going to go through their own advice and their own note to self, and provide the wisdom that they've found and that they've sought and that they've reflected on. And I think this can be a really powerful thing to do for each one of us, because it does keep driving. It drives me every day to think about those things and keep repeating them, and it's helping me be successful. And when I've fallen and haven't done as well, I always go back to it. So. I'm going to introduce Karen Dumas, who's our moderator today, and she'll take things the rest of the way. So thanks.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Tony. We appreciate that. Good afternoon. I'm Karen Dumas. I'm honored to be here this afternoon to serve as the moderator for what I know will be an amazing conversation. I know as business leaders, we always hear, "Can I pick your brain?" Well, you can't pick my brain for free, but today we get to pick their brains for free. We're going to find out those lessons that they've learned late and the lessons that we can take away from them today. I'm going to introduce the first two. They're going to come up. They're going to read their notes to self. Then I'll introduce the next three. Then we'll take some questions and answers from the audience after a brief panel discussion. So I'm looking forward to this. Our first presenter, I'll call him, is Frank Venegas Jr. He is Chairman and CEO of the Ideal Group, Inc. All of our participants are accomplished. If you don't already know them, you can Google them in your free time and see their impressive backgrounds. But first, Frank Venegas Jr.
You're the boss. Hello? I think we can. I have a problem following directions. Let me just start there, okay? And I think that all of us entrepreneurs, we do have problems following direction. That's why we direct ourselves and start our own businesses. That's not part of the agenda. I just threw that out there, okay? I don't have a watch on, so you got to tap me on the shoulder. Writing a note to my younger self, or if I had to write something to myself, I put it in more realistic terms. I have a son that's in the business, and I looked at it. What would I tell my son on what I would do and what goes on? And I'd go back to my grandparents and my parents. What is their legacy? What did they expect? And what did they want? They were assembly line workers, and I'm starting a business. And God, you really think about the correlation about then, you're really, really shocked. There's so much that you do when you're in life, whether you're working on assembly line, working for Ford, as you work with yourself. And having those goals and what you expect, you know, not to steal, not to lie, things that your mother told you, that's what I would tell my son. I think I'm on the wrong page. That's all right. I have the pleasure of teaching at Dartmouth, and I get mixed up there too. Anyways, we'll go back to this. I would tell my kids how important it is to be part of the community and to work as hard as you can with the community. And a lot of times you put more than you would ever imagine in that community. I believe it's got to be around your work, because your work and your community are all around you. You really need them. And what I found is the community has been one of my biggest strengths on what's happened. If I told anybody, and and I would tell my son, I said, okay, if you put $1 into the community, what do you get back? And, you would expect to say, good, well, you're doing the right things, but I'll be honest with you. For every dollar I put in the community, I get $100 back. Now, what better payback than you can have? And then on top of that, I got kids graduating from college now, and they come over and say, hey, you did it, you helped me. I look at them and say, you need the help and be the same way. It's the same thing with my son. I expect him to do the same thing. Educational opportunities for my community and educational opportunities for the people that work for me, it's stellar. We always look at the way we can make people improve themselves, but it's always not just what we do at work, it's what we do at home. If you're happy at home, it makes happy work, and it's really, really surprising about that. Doing something really, really cool. I had the opportunity to teach at Dartmouth. I got my first kid from the neighborhood. There's one block over that's going to Dartmouth. He received we charge $80,000 a year to go to school there, and he earned a $320,000 scholarship. Now, explaining that to my son and saying this is what happened, that makes it really easy for him to continue on what we do. Revitalization from kind of set your goals like me, because one of the things that we have as minority businesses is that we don't have legacy. Most of us, if very few, are second generation. Let alone now, let's talk about third generation companies. That's when the real wealth is being made. Very, very few. And I would tell my son, since he's second generation, make it so that his son or daughter get involved in the business and make it third generation so that we can make the biggest impact that's possible there. What made us what made us so successful in business and life? Hard work, integrity, and finishing your job. Because if you don't finish your job, you're gone. I can tell you one thing, if I told my son, go over to DTE and work, and he finishes the job half done, I don't think we'd have a chance again. One of the things that I found, and I teach not only my son and my daughter, but everyone, I've had 41 mentors in my life. 41 mentors. I can tell you what, not many people can say that they have 41, but I've had 41. I can't tell you how much they taught me. Son, you go and ask people and you talk to people. But I also found out with those 41 mentors is how to think, how to treasure, and then come back and show them what you did. Just like that kid that I've been telling you about graduating. Here's a real toughie too, is telling my boy, hey, learn and understand that mistakes happen. You do mess things up. Let's say I messed up a job on DTE and I worked my butt and I did everything and I worked with them and I tried. I know for a fact if I did what I was supposed to do, even when I made a mistake, the opportunities most likely would come back at me. It's understand that you made a mistake. A lot of people sit there until they die and say, it's not my fault, it's not what went wrong. And I teach them how to do that. My greatest failure, but my greatest thing that I ever learned in life happened in 1985. My business is 40 years old this year. And I've been in 40 years in business, and the thing that I learned, and I had the toughest time, is I went into bankruptcy in 1985. I went Chapter 11. And I would explain to my son, because you failed, and because you're really, if things don't seem like it's possible you're ever going to get out of it, I said if I was going to do it. I made deals with all sorts of people. I paid every single one of my vendors and my tax bill and everything like that, 100%. And guess what happened to me? People looked at my integrity differently than ever before. Not just because I paid the bill, it's because I didn't give up and I fought hard. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Next, we have Marshawn Evans Daniels. She's a reinvention strategist, influence expert, womanpreneur mentor, and Confidence Coach for the Confidence Institute in Business School. Let's give Marshawn a round of applause.
This thing on, because I believe every time a woman speaks, you should hear it. So we just had a wonderful conversation across the hall. A couple people were there, a few ladies, talking about prosperity and the new rules of prosperity for women. And today, I'll start today to kind of give some context as to what I would tell my younger self. But today, our company, Me Unlimited, is a performance coaching company and professional development for helping women thrive in life and business, particularly for women entrepreneurs. We've grown to be the largest business coaching company for women of faith in the country, still working with big companies and all of that. And if I were to today, also being an author, I have this book out. I was here last year, I got to share this. It was the first time I shared a message of purpose and destiny in a corporate space. I totally expected to be booed out of here last year, certainly did expect to get invited back this year. And as I think about being an author today, being the owner of a business that helps so many women around the world, what would I tell my younger self? I was taken back, I'm actually just to tell you a story. I was 11 years old and I was sitting in the living room of my parents' home. And my dad made sure, as I told this story once before, that I remembered it was his house, not mine. And I was staring out the window and just kind of people watching. It was that dusk time of night where it's not quite day, it's not quite dark. And I saw this woman walking up and down the street. And I knew who she was. She was my neighbor, but I didn't know their family very well. And she stops, she looks at me, and I'm staring at her. I think she can't see me because I have these, my parents told me that we had these windows where people could see in, but, I mean, we could see out, but they couldn't see in. So I'm staring at her, and you don't win a staring competition with an 11-year-old, right? So I stare her down, but then she does something that freaks me out, and she walks up the walkway and rings the doorbell at our home. I grew up in the suburbs of North Texas. My family was the only black family on the street. My brother and I were 2 of 5 black kids in our entire school, which was a big deal because it really felt like integration for us for the first time, even though it was the 80s. It was the first time that white teachers had had black children in their classroom. And so when this woman, long flowing hair, rings our doorbell, she asked if I would be willing to be a babysitter. And so my dad looks down because he had answered the door and asked if I wanted to do this, and I said yes. And so we walk back across the street to her house. She explains how to make sure that her house does not burn down and that her 2 children do not end up in child protective care while within my care. And she's gone, and she comes back 2 hours later, and she says, I didn't have an opportunity to stop by the bank. All I have, she pulls out these 2 bills. She says, all I have is a 1 and a 5. Which do you want? And I find myself staring at this opportunity, at this choice, at this confusion. I'm 11 years old. No one had ever hired me before. I hadn't thought in advance what my compensation would be. And I'm staring, quite frankly, between you and me. I wanted to say I wanted both. But I felt guilty for wanting to ask for both, much less even the 5. And so instead of asking for more, I settled for less. I said, I'll take the 1. And she said, are you sure? I know. I said, are you sure? I'll take, and I said, yes, ma'am, I'm sure. I'll take the 1. So I take the 1, I put it in my back pocket. She takes the 5 and she puts it in her pocket. And I head back home, and I was proud of myself because I earned something, but I learned a really powerful lesson, and it's that little 11-year-old girl that I wanted to write this letter to. The first lesson that I would tell young Marshawn is that if you allow yourself to settle for less, nobody is obligated to stop you. And I wanted her to tell me that I was worthy, that I was good enough, that I had what it took. I mean, I had cleaned the living room, put 2 kids that I didn't know to bed. And I wanted her to see that I had gone above and beyond. And a lot of times as women, we do that. We show up, we go, we want someone to see our value, to see our worth. And not everybody is going to see it. It doesn't mean that you don't have it, though. And if you allow yourself to settle for less, nobody is obligated to stop you. Additionally, I would tell her that no one can give you permission for the thing that you've already been pre-commissioned to be and do. Destiny's already commissioned you to have every single thing that you desire in your life, but you have to ask for it. I would tell little Marshawn, or young Marshawn, with purple Coke bottle glasses on at the time. That brown is beautiful, even though other people are going to tell you otherwise almost every single day of your life, especially in elementary school. You're different by design. Your voice is your superpower. Your mind and all the questions that you ask are actually not a problem, they're the key to your prosperity. You don't know everything, but you have indeed been given everything that you need in order to thrive. The burdens that you face and the obstacles that you've encountered, those burdens will actually become books. Rejection is really redirection. You have been gifted to be a gift to others. It's important, as you honor your grandmother, both of whom, you must remember, cleaned the homes of other people. They didn't have more than a third grade education. It's important that you own your own income generating abilities. And know that those women made the most that they could with what they had, so it's your responsibility to never do less when you have so much more. It's important that you start before you're ready, but that you also finish what you started, as you said to finish. Never feel bad about overgiving. Forgive. That's going to take some practice. Learn. Never stop learning. Value your education. Remember your grandmothers. Remember your grandfathers who didn't get to have more than an elementary school education either. It's important to learn. Choose your friends with destiny in mind, your business opportunities, and your business relationships as well. Opposition doesn't mean that the opportunity is bad. Sometimes the opposition means that the opportunity is asking, how bad do you really want it? Say thank you. Honor your teachers, remembering that all of your teachers will not be the ones that you like, but they may be the ones that prepare you for your future the most. Honor your door openers. Have more fun. The work will never be done. Be loud. Be visible. When God said, let there be light, march on. He was giving you permission to shine. That's what I would tell my younger self. And to take the 5 or ask for both, and add a 0 plus tax.
And gratuity. Don't forget, we've got to add tax and gratuity to our work. So this is great. Everybody learning something, taking notes? I am too, and certainly appreciate the opportunity. Next, we are speaking with Manoj Saktava. He is chairman and CEO and co-founder of UE Company. So a round of applause.
Thank you, Karen. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm honored to have been asked by MMSDC President Michelle Sori Robinson to share with you on this platform my life experiences to see what others could learn from it. I really have so much to share that I could really write a big, thick book on it. Going to try to give you some of the highlights in 8 minutes assigned to me today. So just to give you a brief history of UE Company, which has now expanded to UE Group of Companies, comprising of UE, PSMI, SourcePro, GSNS, MBE MRO Catalog, Cadena, and AZOT, with 2019 projected sales of $600 million and over 1,200 employees globally in 12 countries. EGC is in the business of supply chain management, commodity management services of abrasives, cutting tools, special tools, MRO, chemical management, gauge management, lab management, and now also expanding to additive manufacturing, that's 3D printing of spare parts on the non-production side. UE Company was founded by me and my business partner, Dilip Malik, a great visionary, in 1981. Sadly, Dilip passed away in April 2017 from pancreatic cancer. I miss him to the core of my heart. When we started business in 1981, it was from one room of my brother's rooming house. Room number was 3. So we put on the business letterhead, Suite 3. Dilip and I both struggled to meet daily expenses. We both worked as tellers in banks when we started business together. It first started out as an East-West import-export company selling wall hangings and oriental carpets. That didn't go too well. Then we represented an industrial diamond tooling company in an SME show right here in Kobohol. A strong response made us decide to shift our business to industrial diamond tools. Now we had to decide, how do we do business of tooling as an import-export company? So Dilip and I brainstormed how to still keep the same initials of the company. Interestingly, we came up with the name of East-West Industrial Engineering Company, which matched with the same initials of East-West Import-Export Company. So, UE Company was born. East-West Import-Export to East-West Industrial Engineering. We then moved to subsidized housing. We ran the business from basement of my house. Dilip and I both went to school in the evenings, worked during days and weekends to make ends meet. We would take orders from customers during lunch and break time. Our wives will make packages and we will rush home in the evening to deliver packages to UPS. So one fine day, I went and leased an 800 square feet warehouse because I knew that we could not just keep running business from home. Dilip and I had a big fight that day, but somehow I was able to convince him and he came to realization that that was the right thing to do if we were to be successful, as there was not much we could do meeting customers in a hotel lobby and not at our business place. What I'm trying to pinpoint here is that it is you and you only who can take control of your destiny with a strong will and determination to do what you really want to do. Dilip took care of visiting customers and I would run finance and operations. I would type the shippers and Dilip would package. Dilip's day would start at 6 a.m. with early morning appointments with customers, and my day will end at 2 a.m. stocking warehouse and then back to work at 8 a.m. Our mission was simple: give the customer the right product at the right place, at the right time, and at the right cost. We would call it PPTC. In 1994, after several visits to Ford Motor Company, we were given a chance to bid on a small abrasive contract, which we won, and that gave us an entry in the door of a big automotive company. We then surrounded ourselves with good people with technical knowledge about our products we supply to make us successful. So bottom line, success lies in good people, surrounded by good people, surrounded by good people. It is good, knowledgeable people which make success happen. So many people inquired from Dilip and I that, business partnerships usually do not survive that long, and then how are we making our business partnerships work? They would give example of us to others. Well, here it is. Dilip and I had a signed blank piece of paper that each of us signed and gave to each other with this understanding in mind that whoever would fight for money can write anything on blank piece of paper and could take 100% of the business. Even though very little in the beginning grew to a bigger amount and then to a bigger amount, but with the same understanding that money could not come in the way of our business together, our friendship, or our family relation. Our authentic intentions made us do skillful actions. Greed had no part in our business relationship. We taught our children the same values we were taught by our parents. That is to always keep your head down and never to let our egos come in our way. This is why, in spite of the loss of my irreplaceable best friend, Dilip, with our succession planning, watch the word I said, succession planning. We have our boys, Joey, Rick, Amit, and our business partners, Jay Malik and Scott Berg, by my side, surrounded by so many good people that UE Group of Companies now also known as EGC, has been successful in spite of many challenges being thrown at us by our customers to be the best today and tomorrow. This keeps us all humble and on our toes so we then can watch out for the next big challenge. We have now made our company one source, one solution, and one expert. There are so many other things that I can share with you, but you'll have to wait for my book to come whenever that happens. I also follow principles of art of living. And most important ones are, when you wake up and realize that there is nothing to prove and nothing to possess, ego dissolves. Feel that you are blessed. That is the first thing that you can do. Then all complaints disappear, all grumblings disappear, wanting love disappears. Do not blame others because it takes their negative karmas away. To make jealousy go away, realize what you have that they don't have. Once again, I'm so thankful to Michelle Story Robinson and the team at MMSDC for giving me this opportunity to present myself in front of you. I sincerely hope that I have contributed to your knowledge of challenges regarding how to run a small business and then to take it to the next level and the next level and the next level. Thank you so very much.
Sean said she'll help you with your book, so we've got a partnership there, and I think we're all anxiously awaiting what we know will be a bestseller.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, this woman, oh my goodness. All right, Vicki J. Lewis, President and CEO of VMX International, LLC. That's your cue.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody that's up here. The stories have just been great. Thank you for the opportunity to take part in a letter to myself. I thought that this was something that was really something for me, because I never would have taken time to do this. Dear Vicki, you're in your 40s and life is good. You're living the American dream. You've reached goals, graduated college, have a great job, married an awesome man, perfect son, just bought a house, new car. Yes, life is good. You're the primary breadwinner in your family, carrying the insurance, retirement plans, and other benefits, supporting your awesome husband to pursue his dream of owning a small neighborhood business and a gospel music career. Yes, life is good. Vicki, in a couple of years, you will experience something you've never experienced before in your good life. Your career has always been secure and together with super growth in your field, climbing the corporate ladder, successful, hardworking, with a bright future. Never in a million years would you think it could be shattered. It will be a payday Friday, and in your envelope there will be a pink slip announcing the closure of your department, and your layoff is effective the next Monday, along with a letter informing you of a 2-week severance if you don't hold harm to the company, and instructions on how to file for unemployment. You will be devastated. You'll learn the phrase, "Don't let them see you cry," applies when you're angry, but hurt, Hurt is a different thing. You can't hold the tears back. Years of work and dedication, and this is how you do a top performer in your company. It can't be real. Is it real? It is real. So you'll apply for job after job, waiting and waiting, bills piling up, benefits due, unemployment checks stretched, sleepless nights, restless days, and in the midst of the confusion, you will pray and pray and pray. You'll finally hear a whisper saying, when one door closes, another one opens. Where is that door? You'll search and search, looking to find it, can't find it, keep searching, and knowing when you do, you're going to be determined to kick it open. And that voice would whisper to you and say, now is the time to step out on faith and start your own business. You will comprise a list of all you know, your acquired skills and education, and to that list, you'll add the things you're good at. You'll take inventory of areas of need that you might be able to address and bring value to in the most recent field you worked in. It's a list of potentials that you might be able to make a business out of, and it certainly won't be find what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. But you will see a path to carve out a niche in the environmental industry during a time when industries were addressing green sustainability awareness. You will give birth to BMX International. What was intended to defeat you will inspire you. What you'll learn about yourself, Vicki, will amaze you. You'll find your vision, your strength, your tenacity, and your faith. So back to kicking that door open. It will take several kicks. You'll almost break your foot, Vicki, but you'll keep kicking. And when that side gets tired, you'll switch sides and kick some more. There'll be several no's until one day you'll get a yes. You'll provide outstanding service and establish a level of top VIP client relationships unmatchable in the industry. I want to tell you to embrace being a business owner and believe in yourself. I want to tell you you got this, but you won't listen. It'll take close to 10 years to fully recognize that you are an entrepreneur and your ideas and strategies and exemplary service are working. You are providing a life for you, your family, and the many talented people who are working with you. It's real. You're making it happen. But you're afraid if you say it out loud that it'll all go away. You continue to work day in and day out just like it's just a regular job. Just go to work and get it done. And wouldn't you know it, as soon as you exhale and start to embrace being a business owner, a recession will hit. By now, you have people depending on your leadership. You will find that over the years, you have developed a certain set of skills and that you now can kick it up a notch and diversify your business, cut expenses, reduce management salaries, and keep all your staff. No layoffs. While your confidence grows as a business leader, you'll make several mistakes and weather many storms, but you'll survive. You will see and meet people who have built huge multi-million-dollar businesses and dream of the day that that will be you. And you'll work hard and be obedient to all the training, attend all the workshops and services, but it won't happen for you. It won't happen because what's for them is for them. And what's for you, Vicki, is for you. But meeting them and dreaming of their dreams and following in their footsteps, you'll find your own lane and you'll learn from them. And one day, almost 20 years later, you'll look back at how you've been sailing right along, growing year after year. In closing, I want to say, Vicki, I've always been proud of you and the hard work you've done. But I'm most proud that you'll always remember to give and support others, not just with donations, but with your time. And that you'll take pride in being active in your community, in your church, and various associations, some of which you will lead. And that you're not just there, but you're present, wide-eyed, well-rested, and alert. You'll treasure your greatest assets, the staff who believe in your company's vision and work hard every day. And finally, through it all, you'll always count your blessings, and you'll never be ashamed, and you'll never hesitate to thank the Lord for all He's done for you. To a superstar from me.
I was supposed to make us cry, Vicki.
Thank you, Michelle.
This is great, thank you. Next, we have Thairu Gannison, President and CEO of Kaiba Inc.
Michelle, thank you so much, and I'm with team for this opportunity. Dear Thiru, the road to success and the road to failure are oftentimes the one and the same. You may not understand how significant the statement is right now, but this is the key to your evolution. Now, yes, I know you are a rebel at heart, and this statement sounds reminiscent to a line out of a fortune cookie, but right now you are still an introvert and a shy and too young to identify what the opportunities lie ahead of you. You are born and raised in a small, modest town with your parents, brother, and sister, who develop into a person you will become. This, however, marks the start of your journey. As with any difficult and long journey, there are key defining characteristics which motivate you. One of yours is the passion you have towards success. With that in mind, you'll start working as hard as you can with a singular drive in mind to move to the United States. There are also crucial moments that are pivotal to its success. The first one you experienced when you got accepted in one of the largest engineering schools in South India. The school you attended is focused on rules and regulations, which will force you to concentrate on developing your studies and nothing more. In many ways, it train your discipline and work ethic. Up until this point, you have identified and improved your work ethic, but socially you are still shy and intimidated easily. As with any journey, there are many key companions who help you to develop into a man you will become and who expose you to the initiatives and opportunities that you need to grow professionally and personally. Their encouragement is what initially seeded to join the student council, which could lead you to organize and oversee the entire student council body for the next 3 years. This is your first position of authority, where you will grow to become a leader. You will learn to develop your communication, problem solving, and most importantly, the leadership skills. Acknowledging from an outstanding performance comes often, but you will still find yourself asking, why am I here? I want to take this moment to tell you that questioning yourself is an opportunity for growth, and it is the most difficult and most rewarding action one can take. Each letdown experience places a bundle of new opportunities for you to perform and grow. And Thiru, I know you are still young, but you made note of this. Knowing your strength is good, and acknowledging your weakness is what will truly help you to grow. 4 years later, you emerge out of your crucible and graduate bachelor's degree in computer science. With an admission in a college in the US, you start preparing yourself for a journey to overseas to get your master's degree. You have made it. The feeling of joy and accomplishment will consume you. you're finally going to America until your visa is denied. So with no visa, no job, and no directions, you will feel like you're watching the future that you worked so hard to crumble beneath you. And now at 21, you have no idea what to do next. And the finish line isn't the objective, but it's what drives you to success that is most important. The dedication you have will continuously force you into learning how to advance and adapt to the hurdles life gives you. The only way this can be achieved is through your passion. Finally, after a few months and plenty of angst, and your perseverance rewards you with the position as a software engineer. And after 6 months, they ask you to move to New Jersey to support in the Y2K project. As you begin living in America, things you will vividly remember that you will cherish for the rest of your life. The first one is the first flight you took. Not only was it the first flight to America, but the first time flying. Second, the first time seeing the snow. Finally, the third was visiting Manhattan. These moments are the snapshots that you will reminisce and cherish for the rest of your life. Where you came from, what you got this far, and the next step of being better tomorrow than you are today. Everything is almost perfect. Eventually you have an amazing life with a home, a loving family, wonderful friends, and access to anything you want. You will live in 5 different states, meet your beautiful bride, and you have wonderful children. But you hate your job. At this moment, I will ask you once again to remember your passion. That is what allowed you to get this far in life, and is the cornerstone for your success. This is what enabled you to think outside the box. After 2 years of driving back and forth from Ohio to Detroit, you will finally decided to take an initial step out and utilize your knowledge and resources to realize full potential. You connect your passion to your goals in the most cohesive way possible through business and entrepreneurship. As an entrepreneur, your thirst for creation will be unraveled, and you will continue to develop yourself and everything around you to become the best. You will always try to seek opportunities. This innate desire for self-improvement as well as ambition will continue to motivate you as it did years ago. I want to caution you, however, there will be challenges to come, especially in the first few years. There will be a multitude of obstacles and many more lessons to be learned. The silver lining in all these eventual challenges you will face are the people who stood by you, will be there to support you from inception of your adventure to the eventual conclusion. But as a company thrives, remember to stay humble. A leader is only as strong as his followers, and you are extremely fortunate to be faced with a strong team. Finally, remember the passion ignited you as a young boy, but which has stayed with you throughout all your successes and failures, and something that will remain with you till the end of your journey. It can be simple and effortless to waste your life waiting for 5 o'clock, but nothing in life lasts if it comes that easy. With that, this letter comes to an end, but your life-changing journey has just begun. Thank you so much.
So Michelle, I see this as a dinner conversation next time. We all need like this big table and enjoy a meal, because we're all walking away with a lot. Certainly believe in yourself and know your worth. Work hard and with integrity. Be willing to change, because you changed your path a little bit in order to reach where you are today. Don't give up and keep going. Those aren't necessarily the same things. I have a few questions, and we're going to take some questions from the audience. I want to know, and we're going to ask that you keep your responses, pretty to the point so we can get to the audience. But do you consider yourself a success today? I mean, you've got all the bells and whistles that we talked about. You've got legacy, a sustainability, a succession plan. But do you consider yourself a success? If so, why? And if not, why not?
Oh, I mean, it's a journey. Success is a journey. It's a long way to go. You can contend with where you are, as long as you have that, the energy and the that motivates you to gain more and access more. I think it can drive you to achieve more success.
Can I jump in?
Sure, anybody, please.
One of my clients asked me this once, a gentleman who had flown in I do these coaching sessions, so strategy days, and we went to lunch, And he asked me this question of, do you consider yourself a success? And I was like, it was interesting because I speak life into people, right, struggling with confidence. And it wasn't that I wasn't confident, I realized that I had been in this season where I started my company and it was at a rock bottom moment. And I didn't realize that I wasn't sinking anymore. And that we had gotten to a point of being successful, and even with the number of zeros, I still didn't necessarily in my mind know that I was actually sailing, because in my mind I was still just trying to survive, and I didn't realize, I don't know where, and it was in that moment that I felt it kind of flipped for me. I think, well, especially for women, I don't know if fellas deal with this the same way, but the feeling of feeling like a fraud, the whole concept of fraud factor. Of somehow someone's gonna find out that you really don't know what you're doing, even though you're succeeding, even though you're successful, that they're complimenting you, but you're really still just trying to figure it out every single day. And so I think that there's a necessary tension between success and humility that keeps you willing to learn and grow and keeps you curious enough to figure out how to continue to improve. But the thing I'm still working on, and I'm sitting at the feet of all of these individuals here today, is how can I be completely comfortable with myself where I'm at while I'm still on the path of getting better. I said something in the last session that, and this is a mantra that I have right now, which is, nobody owes me anything, but I'm worthy of everything. And so with that, that's kind of how I'm trying to work through the balance of growing, but still wanting to figure it out at the same time.
Okay. Anybody else want to weigh in?
Sure. So for me, success is summed up, did I make a difference? And I think I did make a difference, because when someone says, Manoj, you know, you really helped me, you showed me that vision, and that makes my day. To give back to the community, that is success. And that's what I am also able to do. I purchased an old church, it was called Hope Church. It's in Canton, Canton Center Road. It's about 10,000 square feet, and I'm trying to make a difference there. Anything people need to come and talk, I'll have a senior citizens group. A shuttle will pick them up. They can come and do whatever they like to do, play cards, games, talk, have lunch, and the shuttle will drop them off. So that's what I am. I'm trying to make a difference. That's what I call success.
Okay.
No, I don't feel that I'm a success. I find that people would say that I've done so many things to be successful, but I don't feel that I've been a success. I've been around for a long, long time. When I find people that feel that they're real successful and do so much, I find that they quit and they do so little. And I find, for me, I have so much opportunity to be more successful. And when I quit, I'll tell you whether I'm a success or not.
Vicki?
Do I feel like I'm successful? I didn't until I did this story. When I did the story, I looked back at what I've done, and for me, and for where I've come from, today I feel successful. And in reading my story, I feel successful. So if you ask me just how am I don't know if I am, but I feel good today.
And you certainly deserve to feel that way. Quickly, what did you give up for your, whether you want to call it success, or to realize where you are today? Certainly it didn't come without some sacrifice. What has been your biggest sacrifice in your path?
Working 9 to 5. Take any time that you want, weekends off, or you don't have a lot of pay time off. But working 9 to 5 is probably what I did, what I work on, and I enjoy it. I never get tired, and the passion drives me, and that's why I tell my kids, don't settle less, keep going and keep building big dreams. There's nothing wrong in building big dreams. You got to chase, and you got to continue to work hard.
I gave up a lot too. I gave up. I tell people, do whatever it is you want to do. do for yourself, do it today. Don't wait on the perfect time. I kept waiting on the perfect time for almost everything, you know. I'm just, as soon as I finish this project, or as soon as I finish college, or as soon as. And so, in working and working toward my dream, there was a lot of things that I look back and I wish that I would have had, you know, more kids and and all this other kind of stuff. But do it now. If it's something that you would, I wish I would have learned how to play the guitar.
You still can, that's not true.
I'd like to add one thing.
Go ahead, please.
The stuff that I gave up can't even be told about the stuff that I got as being a businessman. And I am going to tell you that there's a certain thing that you cannot get. I mean, race car driving, skiing, doing this and doing that. That's owning your own business and taking care of your business. And that's what I got. But it's better than all the rest.
Marshawn, anybody else want to weigh in? Go ahead.
So I know one thing that I gave up is sleep. My day ends at 2 a.m. and starts at 6 a.m. That's what I gave up. But I have a pleasure. Actually, it says, you know, whether you earn $1 million or whether you earn a $1, what do you get satisfaction out of? It's my dollar that I earned. That's why I got a satisfaction. Thank you so much.
I would say one of the things I gave up, I feel, again, honored to be up here. I don't know for sure, but I think I'm the youngest one on the panel. I don't have kiddos yet. About to be married 5 years, maybe. And when you said your business is 40 years old, I turned 40 this year. And so my perspective is a little bit different. I think mostly about the younger years of setting myself up for those who are kind of younger entrepreneurs. I think about the discipline that was required by giving up popularity. Giving up, for me, it was giving up dating and giving up hanging out with my friends because I was a competitive baton twirler, so I had to train like a gymnast right after school for 4 to 5 hours in competitions, and giving up popularity, giving up, I think also gave up the easy path. When I was on The Apprentice, there was an easier way for me to stay on television, to be infamous, to do things that were obnoxious, to be able to stay on. And I think when you want to build a life of integrity, that you're going to have to give up the easier path sometimes, and popularity. I think that's the thing of learning to give it up. Last thing I would say is, for me, I also feel like I gave up a religious way of thinking. Faith is incredibly important to me, but I also had to learn that even though it was in my religious house of worships that I learned about God, I had to learn about something that was beyond the rules, and that I had to stretch to find wisdom, especially business wisdom. I couldn't find that in the place that I thought every answer was going to be there. I had church today listening to these individuals, so I had to give up just a religious way of thinking to think bigger, and that was hard. That's not easy to do, actually.
Okay, all right. Well, I've got tons of other questions, but I'm sure those in the audience have some other questions, and my assistant, Daniel Jackson, is going to bring the microphone around. If you could just raise your hand, he will come to you, and let's see what's on your mind.
Hi, everyone. Thank you to everyone on the panel for all of your wisdom and knowledge. My name is Lauren Bailey, and I am with Kelly Services. And my question for you is, what do you do to stay ahead of the curve? So when you talk about professional development and things that you do to, you know, stay relevant either in your industries, what are you doing on a daily basis to really continue that nonstop learning and to continue to grow? Just curious to get your thoughts on that.
Thank you.
Staying in business, it is a consistent thing of constantly keeping up with change and improving yourself. Listening to your customer is, gosh, the biggest thing in the whole wide world. And then maybe the third question is ask questions. Ask your customer what they want before you start doing it.
Anyone else want to weigh in?
I mean, I look at my metrics every single day. That's the key. I'm a data guy. I look at every single thing, whether it's weekly, daily, quarterly, yearly. I set goals. We have every team members they have a goal target to meet. Every month we connect. We look at it, what they have achieved and what was planned, and we look at it on every single thing. So And you have to constantly look at your competitors and see where they are and how far you are. So you got to know the game, and you got to know the players, and you definitely have to know where you are and where you stand.
I think sustainability, they have to constantly stay abreast. I just want to sneak this in just a little bit. Marshawn said she's 40, you all are 41, just a little bit. But in terms of, because I hear a lot of older business people, look down on social media and, technology use at this point. How do you, I know you were on it, in it, all of that, but how do you balance that? Or is it, do you leave it to somebody else, or you just ignored it? Because to me, that's part of growth and sustainability at this point.
Have a younger daughter that really loves
Then you're all set, right?
it's, I mean, you're not going to do anything unless you're on the site. And don't forget that site represents you. I mean, it really is. Just, this is what we do, is we talk about marketing. When you take a look at your site, I mean, be honest with it, okay? Are you on the first page? Are you on the bottom? How do I do organic? Where am I going to go with all this? Because who in the hell is going to buy anything out of a telephone book or out of another thing? They're going to use the internet. And the internet can be your advantage, because guess what? They don't know how big your store is or how little your store is. So,
or who owns your store, or any of that.
Well, you want to tell them who owns the store, because you want to be there.
Well, I'm saying it's become an equalizer, because a lot of times people think that being a minority business or a female-owned business, may be a potential setback. But if in fact you have perfect presentation, they aren't able to necessarily discern whether or not you're somebody they may otherwise discriminate against. So depends on how you use it. Yes, ma'am. You have a question?
Hi, yes, my name is Cassandra Sims. I am an MBE, the owner of Universal Solutions Management, Facilities Management. I am in the hunt, I'm in the huddle, I'm the secretary some days, I'm the owner, I'm the salesperson, I go from A to Z in my business. My question to the panel is, how do you deal with the highs and lows in your business? Because some days I'm on cloud nine, I get a phone call, I got that new contract, I am like, whoop, right here. But in 2 minutes, I can get another phone call that says, you know what, you just lost a contract because such and such and such, and you just got outbid. I'm like, geez, you go from here to here, and it's a roller coaster some days. And where do you pull that inspiration to kind of get back out there and keep doing what you do?
All right, let me take that. So basically, whatever comes out worst or whatever, I take it, this is not the end of the world. So that's the worst, that I can only go up. That's the way I take it.
I think one quick tip I would say, which was to the other question of professional development, I think that having a community of like-minded people that are not your family, and it's not your inner circle of your friends, but people who are also dealing with that roller coaster will make you feel more normal. And it's a lot of times because we take those things home. And a lot with those who are in our programs, what they find is oxygen to breathe around other entrepreneurs who are growing, who are succeeding, who are failing, but to have the perspective on how to deal with it, because when we're dealing with it a lot by ourselves, the isolation causes us to be intimidated by our own possibilities. So I would say get in a circle and hire a mentor. A lot of times we wait for someone to be a mentor. I say kids wait for mentors, professionals, especially for women, we hire them. So I think those are some of the things that have helped me, is that having a mentor that I pick myself by picking my mentors because I pay them. And then that puts me in environments to be around other people who pay to be there too, so that we have next level conversations, which helps me deal with the dips and the frustrations, and I don't have to take that to my family. But
I'll tell you what my grandfather told me. In Spanish, it's called mañana. And mañana is tomorrow. Always remember, in business, even though you have a good day or a bad day, you got tomorrow.
Yes.
And it's your tomorrow.
Yes.
That's the bigger thing. Yes?
Hi, Karen. You touched on it when you talked about social media, and Frank touched on it as well. And I've interviewed you several times, and your core business with Ideal Shield, you did what key business people do, and that's finding the need and meeting it. Can you talk about your bollards and how social media and how that grew? It's a great story.
I invented I'm an inventor. I have 49 products, and it's just one of my company. And it was, if you drove here, you drove more than 10 miles, you probably went by 2,000 pieces of my product. And I sell, if you have bumper posts going to McDonald's and banks, I'm the guy that developed and invented that cover that slides over. Now, we didn't have any problem when we went around to all the businesses around here, but when we wanted to sell it nationally, and what happened, we had to create not just, you go out and hire a salesman, but what you actually do is you create your own salesman on your site so that it allows you to give the person everything that they want within a little short thing. And then make it so that if they choose to, that they're interested in your product, that they can easily push the next button to get to where they want to go. And we sell all over the United States, and I do with my parts. I have zillions of parts. I got in the parts business 25 years ago, and I never, ever thought that I sell in 67 different countries. Crazy, right? All through the internet.
Any other questions? No other questions? Everybody took great notes? All right, well then I'm going to ask the final question. I always say that there are a lot of people that wake up every day on luxury sheets in huge homes. They put on custom suits. They drive expensive cars. They go to nice offices with a big title and a lot of zeros after on their paycheck. But yet and still, there's that one thing in their heart that they still yearn to do. What is that one thing that you all still yearn to do that is the icing on your cake of success? I agree.
And I'll stick with my word that I made a difference in someone's life.
I agree with that. I think that that's the one thing that I take a lot of pride in is the work that we do in the community, and that is in the inner city of Detroit. I want also to make a difference in the work that we do in our church.
I will sell my firm and start the next one.
So you're Who said you
I'll start the next company.
and start, well, that's
Start all over again.
that makes sense. That's how you make money. Marshawn.
I feel like for me, I'm just getting started, and I am on a mission right now. I've been saying it out loud because I'm holding myself accountable in public that we're working to scale our company up to 10 million, and that for me is important because I feel like we can do 10. You're on a path to do 50, on 50 and then up, and it really, I haven't seen a woman who is using the same breath as Ken Blanchard and John Maxwell, and so I want to be a company that creates that so that women around the world know that our thought leadership, we can actually have our name on it too. The other thing that I want to be able to do is I have this vision of being able to take and do missions around the world, and that to gather business women around the world to fund the development of other women. So we're working on a partnership right now in Kenya to help women young girls really, who are dealing with not only sex trafficking, but also teenage pregnancy. The age between 10 and 14, 40% of the girls in Kenya are already pregnant. And so for me, I'm looking at how do I grow my business, how do I make a bigger difference, and how do I help the women because I'm in the business of helping women start businesses. How do I do that where we do both of those two things together? And so I just want to say I've actually learned so much from you all today, and you've expanded my horizons.
Well, lessons that are lost when you're shared. Let's give all of our panelists. Oh, Michelle, you have a comment, question? Executive privilege?
I'm so excited. So many of you heard me yesterday. I was supposed to kick the session off. I got stuck in another one. But many of you heard me yesterday say that this was really born of a vision a few years ago, literally watching ESPN with my board chair. And the thing I have to say is supplier diversity in this arena is the only arena I've ever been in where I could use business acumen, but truly make a difference. And it means you do march the beat of a different drummer. Sometimes you're standing by yourself and people don't understand your methodology because it looks like you're not playing the normal politics. You're speaking truth. So sometimes in a room full of darkness because people are looking at the gamesmanship. But this really mattered to me because I wanted to be able to show there's a knowledge transfer that can take place with people simply telling their stories. And there's power in that, and I think I selected each person on the stage, including the moderator, because I know that there are people who are at the top of their game in terms of skills, but more importantly, I know their hearts are to do more to make a difference. And they've all done that wherever they are. Sure, they have multi-million-dollar enterprises, but that's not what defines them. What defines them is what they stand for, their integrity, their willingness to be the person that stands in the room. And they might stand alone, but they stand for something, and you know what it is. Those are the people that will make a difference. I'll be very candid. Supplier diversity, as we know it, is dying. And part of the reason it is dying is because we have corporations and minority businesses that won't use the power that they have with their words and with their actions. So when I think of notes to self, I want to share these stories because I want to create a pipeline. I want kids to hear these stories. So I've challenged our team. Let's figure out a way to put this out. Let's do podcasts. Let's do roundtables. I love that idea. We could have a cool blue table, Dan. See, I've been thinking of it already. But we have the ability not only to impact other entrepreneurs, and we'll have panels of corporate members at times that share their story and how they were able to move the needle and make a difference that is measurable. We must begin to get real, and we must begin to share our stories because our stories empower and ignite others to do what they were called and created to do. And I am so excited for each of you. I know each of you, and I know your hearts, and I've spent time talking to you about your vision and your dreams, but you ignited something in me today, and Vicki made me cry. I mean, this has been a session in and of itself. So I thank you because you were the perfect kickoff for this. And it's been something I've thought of for years, and it was just never the right time. But I think this is the perfect time. So you will see us streaming this. You will see it on the web. You're going to see a lot of social media. And I invite those of you in the audience who were ignited by some of the things that you heard that were so inspirational today, please do get in touch with us because we want to share your stories as well. And I think there are so many of them there, and I think they will not only help your peers, but I think they will, for those rocky days, I appreciate your candor there, but I think they're going to help a generation of children that need to know the possibilities. So thank you so very much. Thank you.